Over the last several decades, the human consciousness has been saturated with a huge intertwining web of conspiracy theories which are often too overwhelming for the average human to understand, and may in fact provide people with more questions than answers. And if someone is to suddenly see the bigger picture of what is really going on and seriously tries to alert others, then the public has been carefully trained to view them as a crackpot, or label them as another conspiracy theorist. It has been very cleverly orchestrated so that no one ever discovers the whole truth about anything, and if anyone ever does figure it out, they are ridiculed and silenced. Now, however, due to the growth of the internet, it has become a lot harder to silence people and to keep information contained. So what if a global conspiracy does indeed exist? And what if people are kept blind to it because they have been carefully taught to associate the word theory with the word conspiracy, so they never take the time to see that which is right before their eyes? And what if this conspiracy deeply affects our future, our education system, our media, our government, our monetary system, and our beautiful planet? If such a conspiracy does indeed exist, then most certainly it would affect everyone on a personal level. So would it not be imperative for you to become aware of such information, both for your own well-being and for that of your children? It is quite understandable that due to the overwhelming nature of this topic, many people do not even want to begin to look into such things. But if one does take the time to look and steps back a little further, a definite picture comes clearly into view, and what is found is a situation that could be easily rectified. Would people simply take the time to become aware? There is one ruling bloodline that exists on this earth. This ruling bloodline is very old. It is the same bloodline that has always ruled the earth ever since the days of ancient Egypt, and it is very pervasive. For example, many people think that anyone can get to be President of the United States, but the reality is that a large number of presidents are in fact related, and their lineage can be traced back to European monarchy, and in particular to the line of William of Orange. This elite bloodline can actually be traced back a good deal further than that, and even back as far as the royalty of ancient Egypt, and it is this very same bloodline that has ruled the earth ever since, and to which the British monarchy and many other world leaders can ultimately be traced. The entire financial system by which the world is run today is actually operated by the Crown, and contrary to popular belief, the Crown does not refer to the royal family or to the British monarchy. The Crown actually refers to the inner city of London, which is in fact a privately owned corporation that functions as a completely separate sovereign state outside the jurisdiction of England. Most people are completely unaware that when they swear allegiance to the Crown, they are actually swearing allegiance to this private corporate empire. The inner city of London also has two sister city-states of Vatican City and Washington's District of Columbia, both of which are also separate sovereign states within their host countries. Each of the three cities. The inner city of London is the centre for monetary control. Vatican City is the centre for spiritual control. Washington DC is the centre for military control. It is the individuals who control this private corporate empire who call all the shots and pull all the strings. These people control all governments and all mainstream media via the stranglehold they have over the world monetary system, and more people are becoming aware of the reality of this all the time. The beginnings of this private empire can be traced back to a secret meeting that took place in 1773 between Mayor Amschel Rothschild and the heads of 12 other powerful families, including such dynasties as the Warburgs, the Schiffs, and the Oppenheimers. Following this meeting, Rothschild employed the services of a man by the name of Adam Weishaupt in the creation of a society known today as the Bavarian Illuminati, which was itself officially founded 3 years later in 1776. Many people think the Illuminati is a myth, but in actual fact this society is still in operation to this day and has since become the most powerful organization in the world. The surviving members of this order are the individuals who also indirectly own and operate the World Bank. It is the World Bank who covertly dictates global oil prices and whose shareholders also control the global Federal Reserve banking system. Each Western government actually has the legal right to coin its own money and to control its value, but they do not. They borrow money from its privately run central banking system. Through the magic of fractional reserve banking, these central banks are able to create money from thin air via the creation of money as debt, and then profit on it by charging interest on the loans. Most people are duped into believing that their taxes pay for infrastructure, such as roads and schools, and without taxes, the country would fall apart. But this is completely untrue, for the money is in fact borrowed from a private bank. And then you are taxed in order to pay off the interest on the loan. No matter how you choose to look at things, one thing must be clearly understood, and that is that every person in the Western world who has a job is forced each year to give away approximately 3 months' worth of their wages in taxes, and that money goes directly into the pockets of the private individuals who own and run the Federal Reserve banking system. It's one big, privately run scam.
You had better wake up and understand.
There is indeed a global conspiracy going on, and the way it has been carried out and concealed is through control of the global money system, and hence control of all other subsequent systems of importance down the food chain, such as governments and the media. It's important to understand that control of the global money system has been achieved through control of the global central banking system, and that this system is a privately run enterprise. It is a private business that runs for a profit, and it is owned and operated by wealthy international banking dynasties such as the Rothschilds, the Morgans, and the Rockefellers. And please clearly understand that when you control the money supply, you control the government. When you control the government, you control the people. When you control the money supply and the flow of information, you control the government, you control the people, and you control everything they know and everything they believe to be true. When you do it globally, you control all. It's that simple. During World War II, every country on both sides of the conflict was financed by the very same private bankers who lent out every dollar these countries used to finance their war effort at interest. In the ensuing years, the ordinary people from both sides saw great hardships and suffering. And during the fighting, there were heavy casualties amongst all the peoples involved. World War II cost over 50 million lives. And when it was over, each country that participated was left with a huge debt to the banks. It was always the people who paid the price to increase taxes, longer hours, and poorer working conditions. And quid bono? Who benefited? Well, J.D. Rockefeller stayed home, and he made profits in excess of $200 million from it. For international bankers, there is nothing more profitable than war. And so when it is taken into account that these same international bankers now control all the major media, have ties to all the major oil cartels and arms dealers, finance all the main political parties, and control the currency of all Western nations, is it any wonder that the world stays in a state of conflict and war? In the months following World War II, a number of prominent members of Hitler's core Nazi infrastructure were smuggled out of Germany and into America in a documented joint operation conducted with the Vatican, known as Operation Paperclip. Operation Paperclip saw as many as 80 Nazi war criminals that held key positions in Hitler's empire and had detailed knowledge of the Nazi war machine taken to America. Many of these men were given advisory positions on boards dealing with domestic and international security. And it is one such advisory panel that gave birth to the National Security Council. The NSC then combined with the Council on Foreign Relations and spawned its muscle, the CIA. And soon after the formation of these organizations came the creation of the United Nations. Touted as a supposed solver of world conflict, the UN was supposedly put there to maintain the safety and security of the people and to ensure that nothing as heinous as World War II could ever happen again. And the world has seen nothing but a continuous stream of war ever since. In fact, since the formation of the NSC, the CIA and subsequently the UN in 1947, the Earth has seen 258 conflicts and in fact more wars than in its entire recorded history prior to that point. Just why is that? Now each time one of these wars has erupted, usually in an area that never saw any real conflict before, it's happened in such a way that it has invited Western intervention, and each time we've been told by the media that this intervention is to ensure peace. Each time they say it. To make peace, we use war. Peace comes from war. War brings peace. War is peace. It's doublespeak. If you want peace with another nation, you don't go to war with them. You go to peace with them. You work at gaining an understanding for each other, and you help each other. You don't go and kill each other's children and both borrow money from the same bank at interest in order to do it. And noticeably, none of the areas in which such military intervention has occurred ever truly become peaceful again. Each one just stays in a state of guarded tension, looked over by peacekeepers, and continues to function in a state of human suffering, and as another endless source of income for the international banksters. In 1947, as soon as the CIA was formed, the organization began to spread its tentacles worldwide, finding footholds and taking root in almost all countries on Earth. And from there, and working closely with its Israeli counterpart, the Mossad, the CIA has managed to undermine nations from within by using false flag operations, propaganda and terrorism. And please understand that these organizations were created on the recommendations of top-level Nazis, and they were founded and operate on Nazi principles. The CIA has since become the #1 trafficker of drugs and human cargo in the world. The CIA are not the good guys. They are anything but. They are a criminal cabal disguised as an intelligence agency that is based on Nazi principles, has unlimited resources both financially and militarily, and they are answerable to no one.